not going to be a goofy time. Because you just interact with strangers, you go to weird places all the time to do comedy. Like, recently I did a show in the middle of nowhere in like this weird town in Tennessee. And it was going to be like a weird night because everyone in this small town looked like they were friends with Jesse from Breaking Bad, you know? Like, I got there and I was like, ooh, how fun that everyone has a scowl on their face. I did not know they made that many tap-out t-shirts, but that's pretty cool. You know? Collectively, this town had a dirty kitchen, and if you can find them, you got to be the mayor. And I am 16, I'm the superintendent. Okay, all right. It was this really small town, and we got to the bar where the show was, and it was really scary, and the host came up to introduce me, and he was wearing a NASCAR t-shirt, no sleeves. I don't know, I think he left them at home, I don't know what happened. And on his nappy head tattooed, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And I just remember thinking, probably not that. Right? And his job was to introduce me, bring me up on stage, and this is verbatim how he did it. He was like, hell yeah! I got a surprise for y'all tonight. Because I have no idea what kind of Latino this next guy is. But he is here tonight. Get on up here. Come and go, hey! And he was holding a real gun. It was the biggest gun I've ever seen. It was hilarious. But I had to get up there and do my jokes in front of all these strangers I never met. So I just got up there and I was like, hey folks, I don't know how to tell you this, but I am actually one of the Indian kind of Latinos. Thanks. And then the audience left and understood what the joke part of that was, but then the host had to come back up, and he was kind of embarrassed, you know, and he's like, me, man. I'm so sorry, guys. Hey, God's working on all of us, isn't he? It work on me, God! I mean, geez, I'm sorry, y'all. I had no idea, folks, that Indian people were Latinos, too!
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Jonathan Kristen Morning Show Live. We are here with Shaunak, who's going to talk about some stand-up comedy. And tell us a little bit about your sets, your stand-ups.
My name's Shaunak. I do stand-up around Atlanta and all over the Southeast. I am a regular at the Skull, the Punchline, kind of anywhere that's going to let me do it. I'm there. And then I get to travel a little bit, and I want to get back to it. So someone find a cure, please.
So when you were new, what was it like? Like, did you have people kind of push you into it, or did you just like fall in love with it?
Yeah, so I started doing it, I think, my junior year in Athens, and I had loved it since I was in middle school. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were like, well, there's an open mic you can sign up for. And then I did it, and it was so much fun. And then I kind of never looked back. Like, I've just been doing it since then. And the scene was really small then in Athens, and it's grown a ton. And I would come to Atlanta every week, and I got to meet all the people in Atlanta. And so when I graduated, it was pretty easy transition. So there's a lot of cutthroatness in stand-up, but for the most part, the community is very supportive. And if you're bringing it and you're having fun, then people notice.
So which came first, Six Kids or your stand-up?
Yeah, so I started doing stand-up like a year before I started doing improv. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so I started doing stand-up, and then like a couple months later I started doing improv, and then I got into the improv troupe in Athens, Improv Athens, and everyone that you know in Six Kids is just my class that graduated from Improv Athens. So we all moved forward. And we were like, we still want to do it. So we just formed Six Kids at that point.
Yeah, y'all stay busy. I would say out of all the Atlanta teams that I've paid attention to over the past couple of years, you guys stay the busiest, whether it's doing stuff as Six Kids or those of you who are out doing stand-up. Like, y'all stay busy. You're not messing around with it. You're in it to win it.
No, yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think I'll pass that along too. Yeah, I think all of us want to make some type of career performing or writing or somewhere in the space. So I think we have recognized that Atlanta is a great place to get your feet wet.
I used to book artists, like small acoustic artists, and how I would book them is I would go to Athens and go to Hendershots, and that's how I booked people.
Oh, sure.
But that was like 8 or so years ago when I was doing that.
Yeah, so there's still a ton of that happening there. I think like I did a stand-up show at Hendershots like in February, and right before our show started, there was like a huge crowd for a singer-songwriter show there. So I think that culture is still very much thriving.
Yeah, I enjoyed it because it would be like the way that they did the open mic back then was it didn't matter. If you wanted to come in and do stand up, do stand up. You want to do spoken word poetry, do spoken word poetry. If you wanted to come sing a song, sing a song. It was great.
Yeah, definitely. And when I started in Athens, there was a ton of that too. Like I would be doing shows where the predominant lineup was like poetry people, and then I'd be going up being like, does anyone else's mom do this? So I'm glad to see the scenes grown, and people there don't have to do that anymore.
Sometimes like you have to go in there and the energy is so not that, and then you walk in and you're just like, what's the deal with moms? And you just run with it, and everyone's like, holy shit, this kid is funny.
Yeah, and I also think like improv and stand-up, doing both doing both a lot. I think I've learned things that have informed the way I do the other one. And I think one of the things that doing stand-up has taught me about improv is like reading a room and how to set yourself up for success while looking at who's in the room watching you. And I think sometimes I've seen improvisers that don't have like performance background outside of improv, and that can hurt them doing improv only in those circles. And so I think that's helped me like understand both sides of performance.
You have like a go-to tip or like something that you've gone to in the past when you're like, okay, this is what helps me read a room?
It's helpful if you're on the show to watch everyone else that's going up, even if it's before and after you, so you can kind of assess like what your play is in a situation like that. Like especially if it's like a cold room or a room that is not vibing with the show, you can watch and kind of see like, okay, what should I do here that would be authentic and set me up for success with my type of jokes and stuff.
So what are you doing to stay sane during lockdown?
I have been making a lot of very dumb videos on my Instagram. They're fun. I've been doing a lot of weird sketches with friends from a safe distance. And then there's a lot of online stand-up shows. And Six Kids has been doing improv shows, streaming them too. So I've been staying busy just doing the things I would be regularly doing just from my desk. I recently found out that the Indiana Jones movies were the reason PG-13 exists.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, someone told me that. So, I'm not just a pretty face, guys. I have some facts.
Who said that?
Yeah, I think yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think those movies are why PG-13 exists. Someone check me on that. It seems right, though.
Can't remember what year, but Weird Science. I remember watching that, and it was mid to late 80s, and it was rated PG. And when it came out, there's a scene towards the end where this girl is like gripping on for dear life and all of her clothes fall off. And then, you see the action, right? And I'm like, this is PG? Like, kids in the 80s had it made. Like, those 13-year-old boys were like, hey, I'm just going to go over Billy's and watch Weird Science for the 5th time this week, Mom.
Yeah, it's funny to see, like, what's become what we've kind of valued as adult and what we haven't. It's interesting.
It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
Before we get back to our sponsors, we just want to say thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. This was really fun.